What's up and welcome to the video. Today we're going to be talking about the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6 in the really cool crafted black color.
Yeah, super excited. It's a big boy, right?
Yeah. This is the most expensive phone in Samsung's lineup. It's the flagship of flagships, mainly because it folds and unfolds into like a mini tablet. But yeah, I was really excited to get this phone in the studio, especially with some of the hardware tweaks Samsung made to this year's model.
Yeah. Oh, let's do it, right?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Now, we'll start with something simple. We'll start with the build quality because if you look at it, it looks very similar to last year's Fold 5, but there are a couple of things that are different. One of those is the fact that it's a little bit thinner and it is slightly lighter. So when you hold it, it actually feels really good on your hand. It doesn't feel like this huge piece of tech that you're holding because even with one hand, it's pretty ergonomic. One thing that they also improved is the hinge. It feels more solid to the point that when you're opening it and you get it all the way open, it feels like it clicks in place and it feels so satisfying. And of course, I think one of those things that is really important when it comes to foldable phones is the hinge. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, 100%. And it's like this is Samsung's sixth iteration of the Fold, and the hinge seems to get better each and every year. They're not necessarily saying that last year's model was bad. The Z Fold 5 was a really, really good phone, including the hinge. But David's right. When you're using the Fold 6, and once you get it to a certain point, it almost feels like it just snaps right into place. It stays wide open. It feels really solid, which is great because on a phone like this, you absolutely do need to nail the hinge. On any folding phone, you need to nail the hinge. But ultimately, getting the hinge down is going to instill confidence in anyone who buys the phone, because a lot of people that I've seen with folding phones, they treat it like a really expensive like piece of jewelry. It is really expensive.
It is with that price.
But what I'm saying is like they almost baby it, like they'll open it and be real soft with it and stuff like that, be real careful and stuff. But this is the type of device that it's satisfying, open, close. The hinge is really, really sturdy. So yeah, I think Samsung did a great job.
Yeah. And with that price, you got to make sure that, you're trusting what you have and you're not afraid of breaking it when you're using it.
100%.
Now, one thing that's really cool is the fact that they have this exclusive color online, the Crafted Black, which is a texture carbon fiber. So if you're interested in getting one online, you do get that option. And I think it looks and feels really, really cool.
Yeah, 100%. This is easily the best color. Now, you do have to buy it, like David said, exclusively from Samsung online in order to get it. But if you do, the Crafted Black is easily the best color that I think they offer this year round. It looks sick. Yeah, it looks dope.
Now, one thing that I know you're really passionate about is the fact that the aspect ratio on the cover display hasn't changed from last year's model, right? Would I be correct?
Yeah. So if you look at the specs on paper, the Z Fold 6 cover display comes in at 6.3 inches.
6.3 for the outside, yeah.
Okay, so the cover display for the Z Fold 6 comes in at 6.3. Last year on the Z Fold 5, it was 6.2, right? They didn't achieve that by changing anything with the screen itself. They just shrunk down the bezels.
Right.
And that's how that's how they got that extra real estate. So it really does feel like you're still kind of using last year's Z Fold 5. 0.1 of an inch, you're not going to notice on the display. I didn't notice it.
Right.
And I think for me personally, my least favorite part, and I've been saying this for years, by the way, this isn't new. I've been saying this for years in our reviews. Just adjust the aspect ratio of the cover display. It's really tall. It resembles like a chocolate bar in terms of its height and its width.
Right.
And I think you're looking at renders of like the new 9 Pro Fold from Google Pixel that's coming out soon.
Right.
The OnePlus Open has a fantastic aspect ratio on the cover display. Just certain things like you're watching YouTube videos, you're sending text, responding to emails. It's tough to do on a really narrow display. But go ahead.
And I feel like most apps and designs for layouts are going to be designed for something a little bit wider. When you're holding it, it actually makes me feel like I'm using an iPhone 5, which when it comes to tech, especially if I'm paying this amount of money, I want to feel like I'm moving forward with what I'm buying instead of going backwards. And having an aspect ratio that feels like it's from 5-7 years ago is not going to convince me. So I 100% agree. I feel like we gotta step it up and make it slightly wider for next gen.
Yeah. Now I will say the internal display, once you open it, absolutely fantastic. But it's it's such a stark difference in terms of just prior to us filming, we were watching a YouTube video on the Z Fold 6, And the cutoff bars on the side of the YouTube video, whenever you're watching it on the cover display, they're massive. But then whenever you open it up and you're experiencing YouTube on the main display, it's 7.3 inches, right?
7.6.
7.6.
Even
Okay,
better.
so I was off.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7.6 inches. It's phenomenal. The
Yeah.
internal display is phenomenal. A lot of other aspects of this phone are absolutely fantastic. For me personally, I would much rather have the cover display on the OnePlus Open than I would even still on the Z Fold 6.
100%.
And as far as performance goes on the Z Fold 6, I mean, like we said in the beginning of the video, it's the flagship of flagships. So, of course, it's going to be absolutely decked out from a performance perspective. It's rocking a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, 12 gigs of RAM. My particular model has 1 terabyte of storage. So, it has everything a power user could ever want. And whenever it comes to performance, it's absolutely fantastic. It's a phone meant for multitasking and a little bit more intensive workflows on a mobile phone. So whatever you're going to do on it, it's going to be just fine from a performance perspective.
Right. And I mean, the good thing is that it comes with the latest in the software as well. So all the things that we talked about during our S24 Ultra review, the same things are going to come. If anything, we also have exclusive features that are on this one that are AI based, that are not on the S24 Ultra. Things like Sketch to Image, which allows you to take an image and draw a specific shape and it converts it to a hyper realistic add-on to that picture. Or you can even use a blank canvas and create an image from nothing, and you can just draw whatever you want to have instead of typing it out, which I think are really cool features. It actually gives a purpose to the pen for the Z Fold. So I think those features are always welcomed. I am curious to see if those features are going to stay exclusive to the Fold and not be included for the Ultra, but we'll just have to see. But for now, it does come with plenty of AI features that you can use with the new chip.
Yeah, that's a great point. We actually did compare the Z Fold 6 side by side to the S24 Ultra. Both phones are up to date with the most recent software available for them. And the Z Fold 6 is running a slightly higher version of Samsung's One UI compared to the S24 Ultra.
And it's like baby upgrade too.
Yeah,
It's like,
6.1.1 versus 6.1. So we're guessing that 0.1 that the Z Fold 6 is running has some of those exclusive features. And our guess is that Samsung is keeping them exclusive at least a little bit for now because that's a selling point for the phone. But if you have something like an S24 Ultra, there's no reason why it shouldn't be able to run it in the future.
Especially with a pen included, but we'll have to see what
100%. Yeah. All right, now taking a look at the back of the phone, honestly, if you had last year's Z Fold 5 next to this year's Z Fold 6, the only way you'd be able to tell them apart, even from a camera system difference, is that Samsung, for whatever reason, they made the rings around the lenses this year thicker than they did last year. But in terms of hardware, it's a lot of the same stuff. We still have the same 50 megapixel wide angle lens, 12 megapixel ultra wide angle lens, and a 10 megapixel telephoto with 3 times optical zoom.
Right.
And I've said it on last year's review. Did I say it on the Z Fold 4? I might
have. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I just don't understand why Samsung wouldn't just take the 3 lenses on the back of whichever Ultra comes out that year from like the S line, slap it on the back. But
no, I mean, it feels like they're using the Ultra as their top dog when it comes to camera systems, even though they have a model that's even more expensive on their lineup, which is a Z Fold.
Yeah.
I agree. I would love to see a better camera system and even a more risky camera system be included with the Fold, because you're paying for a device that's supposed to be the latest and greatest and breakthrough technology, but you're not getting a better camera system. And I think that's one thing that they're lacking of, that they're coming short of. So it is a good camera system, don't get me wrong. It still gives better pictures than a $200 phone you're gonna have. It's not a bad camera system by any means, but at the same time, if you're paying $1,800 plus, you might as well get something that's like no other, right?
1000%,
Some technology that you don't see anywhere else.
Yeah. Everybody these days has a phone to trade in. So yeah, the phone has a starting price tag of $1,800, but chances are you are trading in another phone for it. But even then, a phone that costs close to $2,000 before trade-in, it should have the best performance across the line. It should have the best cameras across the line, the best battery life across the line. But it seems like if camera performance is your absolute top priority and you want to get a phone from Samsung, you're still going to get the best camera performance out of the S line, the 24 Ultra specifically.
Think about it this way. It's like whenever they released the iPhone 10, they had the iPhone 10 and the iPhone 8. Imagine if they would have included the Face ID module on the 8 instead of the 10. you want that best feature on the most expensive model. And
Yeah.
it's the same concept. So
Yeah.
we just want to see, and I'm not against any other phone company or anything like that, but I do want Samsung to do better because they used to be the best at camera systems on smartphones.
Yeah.
At some point.
The S24 Ultra is still fantastic.
It is a great camera
Yeah,
system.
it really is a great camera system, but
Yeah.
it's just, it seems like this one is always, if you're going to spend this much on a phone, it should do everything, right? It should be really, really good at everything.
Yeah,
And
especially since we don't see any change from last year's model.
yeah,
That's even more reason for us to say, hey, what happened?
yeah. And speaking of other things that haven't really changed, while we're
Yeah.
just on the topic, the size of the battery is still the exact same as last year's Z Fold
Mm-hmm.
5 as well, 4,400 milliamp hours. In my experience, it's going to get you through a day for sure. I would
Right.
say if you're going to do a bunch of heavy work on the main display, like the big one on the inside, then you probably could kill it in a day. It does charge up relatively fast, but in terms of like battery size and performance, it's also really similar to last year as well.
Yeah. Now that just about does it. When it comes to this phone, it was really fun. We got really lucky to be able to test it out and try the new features, the new design. There's some great things that were here and we're welcoming them. When it comes to the design, the thickness, the fact that it's slimmer, the fact that it's lighter, and even the hinge. We want the hinge to keep getting better and better every year, so we're always gonna welcome that. But at the same time, there were some things that we wish would have been added on this model, especially knowing that they have received the feedback in the last models in the last generations. So the fact that the cover display hasn't gotten wider, and I think the camera system hasn't gotten much better. Those are the main ones that we want to tackle on. But at the same time, it's a really good phone. I like the design. I'm excited for the foldable phones because it's new tech that we've seen grow in the last couple of years. So it's always exciting to see it out.
Yeah, it is a blast of a smartphone to use. There's a lot to like about the Z Fold 6, but I also agree with everything David said in terms of there's definitely room for improvement in the camera system and definitely room for improvement in the cover display, especially given that this year the Z Fold 6 got more expensive. And of course, you did get an internal spec bump and you got some refinements here and there, but it did get more expensive. The starting price point for a 256 gig Z Fold 6 is $1,900. Once you bump it up to 512, it's like $2,020. It's some really weird number. And then once you go to 1 terabyte, it's over $2,200 before eligible trade-in. This is the 1 terabyte. So hypothetically speaking, if you didn't pre-order and you just wanted to buy it now and you don't want to trade in, this phone is $2,200. For $2,200, I expect the phone to have the best of the best camera system, the best of the best cover display, internal display, everything. And I know that there was some speculation when OnePlus dropped the Open last year that Samsung was going to finally adjust the aspect ratio. Didn't end up happening. But either way, it's still a really fun phone. I just don't know if it's even worth upgrading from the Z Fold 5 because the changes are very minimal for sure. But either way, great device, a lot of fun to use.
Yeah. And of course, if you have any thoughts, let us know in the comments down below. Make sure to follow and subscribe so we can keep updating you with new stuff that's coming out.
Yeah.
We do have some new content. There's of course the Z Flip that we're testing.
Yeah.
A couple
The
of
watches,
other gadgets.
the watches, the buds.
The Galaxy Ultra. The Watch Ultra.
Yeah.
There's good stuff coming
The
out.
CMF phone.
Yeah. Oh, that's true too.
The
Yeah.
CMF phone
We're gonna
one.
get to check it out. Yeah.
So we do have a lot of content in the pipe. So if you guys want to catch those as soon as they drop, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. Let us know what you think in the comments. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you here shortly.
Till the next one.
Peace.